I'm Shannon Thrasher, and this is 30-Second Tactics. Before I get into the topic of the video, I'd like to just ask you guys, if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to the channel, like, share the videos, hit the bell so you get notified when we put out a new video. As of filming this video, we just hit 400 subscribers, so that's kind of cool, but if we can hit 400, we can hit 4,000. So you guys got to do your part. Thanks. So today we're going to talk real quick about what most people would consider cheap guns, but they're guns that I, through personal experience, have carried and have found very reliable. When it comes to so-called cheap guns or whatever, backup guns, little bitty pocket guns, personally, I don't care about accuracy, within reason, because we're not playing sniper with a 2-inch 380. I don't care about looks. I really don't care about trigger pull, because in the situation I'm going to use this gun, there's going to be plenty of adrenaline to get through that trigger pull. So all I'm looking for in a cheap gun is a cheap price and reliability. If the gun doesn't function, I don't care if you give it to me for free. It doesn't do me any good. So reliability and a cheap price. So with that in mind, we'll start my list. And the first cheap gun that I think is a great gun that hits the list is the Keltec P380. Now, when Keltec first came out with a P32, I got one, I liked it, but then shortly after they came out with a 380, why carry a 32 when you can carry a 380? So I went with that, and I carried a little P380 in my pocket for years. And it is what it is. It's a 380, wouldn't be my first choice, but it's a tiny, flat, light gun, and my personal experience, super reliable. I would take this thing, and like I said, I carried it in a little cheap, one of those little, not even nylon, cheap little pocket holsters, and I carried it daily, and it got full of dirt and dust and pocket lint, and about once a month I would take it out of my pocket with no maintenance or oil or anything, and I would fire those 6 rounds out of the magazine, and I would reload 6 more, and I'd stick it back in my pocket, and I never had any problems with it. I never had any malfunctions. Every few months, I'd take it apart, clean it in oil, just because the barrel would get plugged up with dust bunnies. It'd be so bad. Had nothing but good experience with them. So that's the first on my list. Next on the list is going to be a Taurus Model 85. Now, they come in a million variations, with a hammer, without a hammer, stainless, two-tone, lightweight, whatever. And again, I don't care about the finish. I care about reliability. Now, we're talking about a 38 caliber revolver. If there's anything out there more reliable, I don't know what it is. Now, it's going to be a little more bulky than the Keltec and some other options. But again, this is a gun you can get, especially on the used market. You can get super cheap. Are they the highest quality gun? No, they're not. But for a gun that you're going to shoot very little and carry a lot, I think it's a good choice. I've had various different types of them over the years. I've never had any problems with them. I know a lot of people have Taurus horror stories, and I think they're justified when you're talking about high round count or some of the bigger calibers. But if you're just gonna get a little 38 revolver, I had nothing but good luck with them. All right, so moving on to the next one. So another gun that I had nothing but luck with, it's had some bad reviews over the years, is the Ruger LC9. Now, this is gonna be bigger than the Keltec 380, but also, of course, you're rocking a 9mm now as opposed to a 380. Now, today, of course, you have some amazing options like the 365, some Glock offerings in the smaller guns and stuff. But again, you're going to pay several $100s more for those. So you're looking for a quote-unquote cheap gun that, again, in my experience, the one I had that I used to carry around in my blue jean pocket for weeks at a time without maintenance and pull it out and it would shoot just fine, the Ruger LC9 was a good option for me. I had the original one. Now they have one, I want to say it's a LC9S that's striker fired, so it's got an even smoother trigger. But again, like I said, for me personally, smooth, light, fancy trigger for that type of gun for me is really not an issue. I don't care. I want it to be cheap, and I want it to go bang when I pull the trigger, and that was my experience with the LC9. All right, so one last option, and I'll let y'all get back to your life. So I left this one to the last on the list because over the last few years, these guns have actually got kind of expensive. The base model for the Beretta 21A, I just looked it up, and MSRP is like $450 on it. Not exactly what I consider a cheap gun. Back in the day, the ones I got were all, $150, $200, but your mileage may vary, as they say. but I carried a Beretta 21 in my pocket for years. A lot of people tell you, hey, 22 is not much of a caliber. And you know what? They're right. 22 isn't much of a caliber if I can get a 9 or something else. But if all I got is that little tiny 22 and I put 8 stingers in the bad guy's face or gut or chest, he's probably not going to stop and ask me what caliber I'm shooting. I carried this one similar to the way I carried the Keltec. It rode around in my pocket for months at a time. Every few weeks I'd take it out and I'd fire the ammo out of the magazine and put in new ammo. I used to try to make this weapon jam. I would fire it 90 degrees left, 90 degrees right, fire it upside down. All this thing would do is go bang every time I pulled the trigger. So I had real good experience with it. So guys, that's my ideas on some cheap, reliable guns. It's obviously not an exhaustive list. It's just a handful of guns that came to mind that I have actual personal experience with, carrying as, you know, cheap pocket guns when you don't want to carry your expensive gun, or you just don't have the money for an expensive gun, or what have you. Like I said, the ones I had, they filled the bill for me, which, you know, like I said earlier, my requirement is for a cheap gun is cheap and reliable. And with all these guns I talked about, that was my experience. So your experience may vary. I'm sure I'm going to get some interesting comments on this one, but please feel free, leave some comments. As always, guys, work, train, repeat, stay safe.